On this episode of Extraordinary Women TV,
my first guest is a woman who spends her days advocating for unwanted and injured animals. Joining me in the studio is Barbara Steinhoff, Executive Director for the Toronto Humane Society. Well, Barbara, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
It's great having you here. Now, and I'm especially grateful. I mean, I did watch some segments of you on Toronto Speaks.
Yes, that was so much fun. We got the opportunity to do the first season. So it was taking viewers' questions and spending time finding out really what people in Toronto thought and were doing with their companion animals in their homes. So it was a lot of fun.
And of course, that's Toronto Speaks right here on Rogers TV.
Yes.
So you have a long-standing career that has been really dedicated to issues, very issues-oriented. You graduated having studied environmental studies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you worked with the Canadian Diabetes Association for a while, so big focus on health issues.
Yeah.
And then you moved into environmental issues with Summerhill.
And then here at Toronto Humane Society. So it was interesting because I did spend about, just over 10 years in the for-profit sector, sort of getting my feet wet in sales and marketing. And then I had my son. And that just changed everything. It was time to start to make a difference and to focus on the issues that I thought were important and were all significant in my life. My father had been diagnosed with diabetes, so I made a choice to go and work at the Canadian Diabetes Association. And of course, my passion was the environment, so then that choice to go and work there, and I just absolutely adore animals, always have. So then a choice to go and work with the Toronto Humane Society. I've been incredibly lucky to be able to make those choices and to, I feel, give something back.
So what is it sort of within you that really sort of motivates you to really spend your time advocating?
It's interesting because I think for me, I enjoyed my time when I was working in the for-profit sector, but I did see it as a job. It was work. I don't see this as work. I see it as something that I can go to bed at night and feel great about what I did, and I get up in the morning and I want to have a 15-hour day in the office. So for me, it's a passion, and it makes a big difference in my life to me. I get as much back as I give.
Well, the Toronto Humane Society is where you are now, and it's a well-recognized and respected organization here in Toronto. I mean, you work with injured animals, unwanted animals. It is something that can't be easy.
It's interesting because I often get that, and 99% of the time there is this wonderful story of success. And whether it's an animal that has come in that's injured, and animals have this incredible ability to bounce back. It is beyond anything I had ever imagined. So an animal, even a cat or a dog that's had to have a leg amputated, they have no idea, nor do they care that they only have 3 legs. They are incredibly happy. They are jumping around, and all they want to do is go home with some wonderful family and be loved and give love back. And for us at the Toronto Humane Society, we don't euthanize for lack of space or for length of stay. So really the only road out is into a forever home. So the animals that we see coming in, I always know every one of the staff members there are going to do everything they can to make sure as quickly as possible that animal goes home with a loving family. And that's what makes it important for me and what makes me be able to deal with seeing, in some cases, the state that they do come in. I know we're going to make a difference.
Adopting a pet, you've got a process. What do people go through in terms of the process?
It's not a hard process. We have a form, so you come in and you meet with one of our adoption counselors, and their job is to make sure that the animal that you're choosing is the right animal for your family situation. So our animals go through health checks, they go through behavior checks. So we'll often know that, Joe the dog doesn't like other dogs. So if you're a family with a dog, he's not really the right new member of your family. So they'll sit down, they'll talk to you, ask you some questions, and give you some information on things like pet insurance, so that if you do face medical, expenses down the line, there's insurance that's available for you, and just different things that we can do to help. And then it's really about a loving home, and off you go. So it's a pretty simple process.
And you have a magazine, Animal Talk?
We do. So that's something we do completely internally. So we send that out to about anywhere between 55 and 75,000 individuals receive our magazine twice a year. And it's full of stories of great things we're doing, or issues that we think are important. So it's one of the things that I had never done before. And I think that's always the great thing about working in the charity world, is that there's so many opportunities to do different things because you're so often short-staffed. So writing a magazine when I arrived was one of the things I'd never done, and it's all of a sudden, let's put together, publish, edit, and write a magazine.
Well, and also think about what you're doing is there's great demand for advice on taking care of pets. Absolutely. And so we see you on City TV sometimes.
City TV does a great segment with a number of shelters, Pick a Pet. And I understand for us it's fabulous. Every time we have an animal that I do on the Pick a Pet segment, that animal's adopted within a number of days. Someone's coming in, they've seen them on television. So it's a short little segment we do on the 5 on City, and it's called Pick a Pet, and it does great for us. It's a wonderful thing. The media has been one of, I think, the best partnerships we've had. Where they help us to find animals homes, and it's been phenomenal.
And now, the Good to Know Minute.
So Barbara, it's time for the Good to Know Minute, and I know you've got a great success tip. Jump right in there.
I think the one thing that everyone can use as a tip for success is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. I make one every day. I admit to them all. And my mistakes have sometimes turned into the greatest successes. So take a program that we're creating, oops, wow. And that can happen every time. So don't be afraid to make those mistakes. It's okay.
And that's good to know.
I'd love to hear from you. Visit our website at extraordinarywomantv.com. Follow me on Twitter at Shannon_Skinner, or on Facebook at Extraordinary Women TV. Extraordinary Women TV, we'll be right back. And now for more Extraordinary Women.
Welcome back to Extraordinary Women TV. I'm Shannon Skinner, and I'm speaking with Barbara Steinhoff. She's the Executive Director of the Toronto Humane Society. What are some of the other programs that the Toronto Humane Society has?
One of the things we started about a year ago is our spay-neuter program. So our spay-neuter, we really focus on, again, preventing that onslaught of animals coming into the shelter system. So we know in Toronto, for example, we have a significant cat overpopulation. So there are, and estimates vary, it's hard to tell, but anywhere between 100 and 500,000 cats on the streets in Toronto. And they're having babies like crazy. And cats are, everybody always talks about how quickly bunnies have babies. I mean, cats are actually worse. They're not discriminatory, they'll, siblings will mate. So you can have 2 cats, and within 8 years, that breeding pair of cats could produce, 80,000 more cats. So it's this huge number. So we work with a number of different organizations to work with the feral cats, but we also offer an affordable spay-neuter program. So if you're an individual in Toronto, you can come to the Toronto Humane Society, you book an appointment, and for a fraction of what you would pay in public veterinarian clinics, you can have your animal spay-neutered. We do behavior classes for both puppies and dogs that are having significant or specialized behavior issues. We have kids camps that we work with. We do so many different things.
Now, for women who may be interested in following a career path in not-for-profits and being an advocate, what kind of advice would you have for them?
You know, it is an incredible opportunity. Be a sponge. When you decide you want to get in, don't be afraid to take a step back to make 10 steps forward in your career. It's something that I did. You know, I took a step back to go forward. And be a sponge. There's incredible information. Sit down, talk to your finance guy. He's your most, you know, she is a fabulous person. Don't be afraid to take all that information. And then, again, with charities, you're limited in your resources. There's not enough people to do the amount of work that's there. So pick up those projects that no one else is looking at. You know, oh, there's a magazine that needs to be written. Oh, we need an HR manual. You may not be in HR, but that's okay. Give it a try. And in the charitable sector, that opportunity is out there. You can literally build yourself a position and a career.
And you mentioned you took a step back. I mean, that's actually really important because often we think our path, our trajectory should be a straight line, but it isn't always the case.
It's not always the case. So when I first came, you know, to the Toronto Humane Society, I came on in a part-time role as strictly a public relations and communications person. Now, public relations and communications was never, you know, a focus. I'd done it, but never a focus of what I'd done before. So I took it on as a part-time role, and within very little time, you know, it's like, oh, HR, somebody needs to take that, this needs to happen, and built the executive director role. It was not a role they had before.
Do you have moments where you think, this job is pretty tough, I wish I was doing something else?
This has been one of my favorite positions, and there are days when I think, oh no. You know, everybody always talks about how you're keeping all the balls in the air. I have so many days where those balls they're all on the ground, and I'm just trying to decide which one I should jump on because it's going to explode, you know, any second. Those are tough, but I never regret it.
How do you get through those days?
I jump on the ball before it explodes, and then I go, okay, what's next?
Now, I know that you hosted a show right here on Rogers TV, Toronto Speaks Pet Care.
I did. I did the first season along with my colleagues from the Toronto Humane Society. It's now in its second season, and I believe Toronto Animal Services has come on board. It was such a fun show to do. We had callers calling in all across Toronto and even onto some of the outskirts, asking questions. It gave me an opportunity that you rarely get, and that was an opportunity to connect with individuals who had concerns or questions about their own pet in their home. It was a great opportunity. I loved every minute of it.
Barbara, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing a little bit about what you do and your inspiring message.
Thank you.
If you would like to be a guest on Extraordinary Women TV, visit our website at extraordinarywomentv.com. I'd love to hear from you. Follow me on Twitter at Shannon_Skinner or on Facebook at Extraordinary Women TV. I'm Shannon Skinner. Join us next time for another episode of Extraordinary Women TV.